Well, hello and welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm Paul Richard, and today we have a special guest from SC Marketing Technologies. We have Sarah Chin with us. Sarah, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Paul. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
I'm excited to have you on, and we met or either got connected through some of the networking groups here in Springfield. And so I'm super excited to have you on, and I love featuring the small businesses like yours in this, and it's growing and things are going good for you. So tell us a little bit about your background and history so they'll kind of get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, so I graduated from college a long time ago with a marketing degree. Ironically enough, they don't teach SEO when I went to school. And so when I was looking for a job, I started calling around, trying to apply for marketing jobs. And the question I kept hearing was, do you know SEO? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm a fast learner. I just graduated. Finally found somebody who helped me along the way and started in as a receptionist and trained. Sorry, I'm getting another call. Trained to learn how to be a digital marketer on the side, and really started from the ground up there. Eventually became an SEO analyst, and then moved up the ranks there from digital marketing companies one to another, until eventually I decided to start my own business. There were a lot of reasons for that, a lot of reasons. One, I don't like the way the typical agencies run. A lot of it is focused on scaling, which in itself is not bad, right? But when it comes to the expense of the customer and the client not knowing what's happening, I disagree with that. And, it's pretty typical in agencies to cap the amount of hours that they spend, 2, maybe 4 hours worth of work. And for what we do, you really need more time on that, and you need to be more specialized. They also focus on things maybe just like optimizing your website as opposed to the business as a whole, like directory listings, Google business page. So I just felt that there are ways we can do it better. And so that's what I do at SE Marketing. I feel like we're changing the way the industry is and really providing authentic services for business owners. But I have been doing this for quite a while and I love it. And now that AI has become a thing, optimizing for AI as well, AI search platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity is super important. And the great thing is it overlaps a bit with Google rankings, but they're still very different. So I have a blast doing it. I love it. And I love seeing the growth for local businesses. And we have a lot of nationwide and international businesses too. So
That's awesome. So how have you gone about acquiring new clients? What's been your methodology?
Good question. So we are actually ranked first for SEO in Springfield, Missouri, and have been for a while. AI platforms actually recommend us quite a bit. So utilizing those avenues, I get a lot of calls from Google as well as ChatGPT, which is fabulous because why not have AI work for you, right? So that's my thing. Like AI can be my salesperson. They're with everybody when they have the questions. So if I can get AI to know me, that's fabulous. So I get calls from there, but also a lot from referrals. So a lot of current clients share my name with other clients and then get calls from that, which is fabulous. I mean, I think it speaks volumes about the kind of work that we do. But typically through all of it, I have never actually spent money on marketing per se. I just do it myself, on Google. Google's been fabulous with it. But yeah, usually it's referral or Google and ChatGPT. So
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So if someone comes to you, let's say, I'll just pick a random business. Let's say they have a dumpster business and they, that's their thing. They bring out dumpsters and you can load them up and they take them away. So, and let's say they have no online presence right now. Where do you even start with that? Where do you take them?
Good question. A lot of it will depend on their budget and what they're wanting to spend on it. But the first thing 100% is that we need to get a website because you can show up in places, but Google wants to see a website. Google focuses on your Google business page as well as your website presence. And so the goal with that is to build the brand on your website so that Google understands it. And then we put a lot of structured data and schemas on the back end, which is really the backbone for ranking as well as good content. So nowadays search has changed a lot in the past decade, but a lot of it now is, are we answering questions that people are actually asking, right? We don't want just generic content. So we actually have to have a website that answers the questions. And then now with AI, AI is big into structured data as well as credibility. So we want to put the credibility in the structured data as well as the content on the website. So first thing would be focus on getting a website up. And something we do differently at SE Marketing is we don't just design websites that look good and load fast. They're all fully optimized. We can help people if they want to just come in and have the content that's optimized. When I say optimized, I mean it's written based on keyword data and competitor research and what people are actually searching. So we write that content. So the goal is just to make sure that we have a website that actually hits those search queries. So we'd want to get a website. We want to go to Google Business Profile showing up if they don't have that. The reason for that is we want to show in the map pack, which are usually the first 3 listings when someone Googles something. They steal about 77% of clicks. So we want to get them there. I don't typically focus on Google Ads. I have somebody who does, I do refer that out to, but if you have a really good organic strategy, then you can get ranking there and then have AI eventually recommend you as well. So first thing would be a website for sure.
Okay, awesome. So once you get the website established, what about the impact of star ratings on Google or feedback ratings, whatever you call those? How do those impact the overall search engine optimization?
Yeah, it's super important, especially for Google Business Page. So Google Business, when I say Google Business, it's when you Google type of business and you see the ratings there. That's their Google Business profile. So that mainly operates on a proximity algorithm, meaning if someone is closer to your business or that business physically when they're searching, that business has a greater chance of showing up versus a competitor who is further away. However, your rankings impact it quite a bit. So that's why you may notice one that pops up that has maybe 600 reviews, but they're not close. They're not as close as another one. It's because their reputation on that profile is very strong. It also depends on their engagement level. So if a business is posting frequently, if they've optimized it enough, if they have all their services and their products listed on it, as well as strong review signals, they can show up over someone who maybe has more reviews. But reviews are very, very important. It's a big driving factor, as well as obviously proximity algorithm with it. So there's a lot of things involved.
A lot of things involved with that. Talk about backlinks. How do backlinks affect the website?
So backlinks are important. Now, it depends on who you ask because there's a lot of opinions about it. Google used to put more of a heavy emphasis on backlinks than they do now. So it is important. I will say if you write good content though, and your content is actually answering search query questions, you will naturally get cited and get those backlinks. So if you're doing it the right way, eventually they just naturally come. You can acquire backlinks. It is a process, but I have ranked several websites that we don't actively try and acquire those backlinks. It just comes through time. So it's important. It's not as important as building the content and the structured data on the back end. Now, that is my opinion based on kind of things that Google has released and the way their algorithms are now. But I mean, you could ask anyone, another SEO person, they might think a little differently than that. But I think there are a lot more important factors. And if you do it the right way, naturally, you acquire those backlinks.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
In the world of AI now, so we've got, ChatGPT has been kind of the standard for most people over the last, year or so. And then suddenly Claude came on the scene in a big way here recently, and everybody's signing up for Claude, and they're moving into the number one position. I understand if they're not already. And so looking at search, right? A lot of people are using AI as the search engine, right? Instead of going to Google. So how has that impacted the overall? I mean, Google's got Gemini, right? So how does that, like the whole lay of the land? I'm just curious what you've seen from the digital marketing perspective. How has that impacted the whole scene?
Good question. A lot of the searches are now ending in no clicks. So essentially what that means is a lot of people may not even hit your website. Now, don't quote me. I think the last time I checked, I would say is probably around 40% are showing people are going to search ChatGPT, Perplexity, to find the answers. Google AI Overviews shows queries and answers to questions, and a lot of times people don't even click through to the website. So what that means is even more important to actually create content and structured data on your site so that you get cited by AI. So AI, again, is big into credibility. So credibility, when we think about it, if you're a local junk removal business, a dumpster business, what's your credibility? One, have you been featured in large publications locally? Do you have any accreditations, certifications? If you, how many reviews do you have on Google? Anything that we can highlight and put on our website. You think about it, when you're looking for new providers, you hit their website. The first thing we want to know is their credibility. Why should I listen to you? What do you offer? What do you do differently? And then how do I reach out, right? Is it form fill, phone call? What do I do? So we want to walk people through that process, but we also want to help Google and AI to understand it. So if we do create good content, credibility in our content, and then structured data and schemas, it helps get you cited so that as we see search shifting and we see that people are not necessarily making it to the website, you can still get recommended, and people might call that number or say, SC Marketing, yeah, let me call them. Here's their number, and they don't even make it to my website. So there's a huge shift. There's a huge decline in organic traffic worldwide because of AI, but it doesn't mean that your business is going to suffer, right? If you put the work in and you pay attention to where search is shifting, then you can get ahead of people who are not paying attention to it just yet.
Okay, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the old thing called blogs. Do blogs impact this whole thing in a big way? Or because I know it's new content, but it seems like old tech now, right? How is that impacting things?
Yeah, so blogs are important. They're more of supportive content. So if you've got a strong website, the blogs can be written in a way that supports the strong website. So if you haven't optimized your website and your content's not very relevant, it doesn't give the answers people are looking for, then focusing a lot on blog is not going to help you, right? Because you need the structured data that is like the backbone. I like to compare it a lot to like the human body. So structured data and schemas are like your bones, right, of your body. The content is like your organs and your skin. So it works together. So you need to have a strong structured data and content on the site, and then focus on the supportive content like your blog. So the way we do it at SC Marketing is all of our blogs are actually written in semantic HTML, which is different than traditional HTML. So when you look at it, it looks completely normal, but it's written in a way that AI can understand and parse the information faster. Because the goal with AI is people go to ChatGPT to fully understand something. There's usually long search query questions, right? AI can scan your site and get some information, but it doesn't necessarily mean AI understands enough to be able to answer search query. So we write our blogs in semantic HTML, and we also follow along with what's trending. For example, we have a charter boat business in Lake of the Ozarks, and obviously their busiest time is spring, summer, right? Kind of fall time. As we get into the winter months now, they will pull both boats out, but it's not always something that's, it's not a driving time for their business. However, we take an approach of what's trending in the area, right? So there may be fall festivals, there may be winter things that are going on in the area that already have high search volume. And so we do the research, figure out what it is, what's happening locally, and then let's create some content that talks about that. And then, hey, why not, for things to do, get a charter boat, something like that. So if we do it the right way, the website is strong enough to be able to carry rankings, and then you create the supportive blog content, but you do it in a way that AI likes and prefers, and then you also put schema behind it. I mean, it's just added, it's just an added buffer, it helps you rank. Just focusing on blogs as a whole, though, without focusing on your website, it's not going to do really what you want it to do.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense to me. And what's the target client for you? Do you have a certain size or income or I should say revenue that you target, or can you pretty much work from everything from a solo entrepreneur to maybe a corporate entity that has multiple staff helping and supporting the digital marketing?
Yeah, good question. So we can help really any business, but the main thing is they have to be able to have the capital to support it. So, SEO is very different than something like pay-per-click. So pay-per-click, you can run an ad, and then when you're done, it comes down, right? You choose how much you want to spend, and then when you don't want to spend it anymore, you're done with it. SEO really needs to be monthly. It needs to be compounded, but only if you're actually doing things, right? There will be a lot of SEO companies out there that just want you to sign on and pay them monthly, but they're not really doing anything. So as long as it's an actual strategy and you're doing work, it's going to compound and add on top of each other. So, we did have businesses at the very beginning who were a lot of startup businesses. And something we found is those businesses just were not able to sustain the growth and the work that we want to do. We'd have a strategy and we weren't able to implement the full strategy for whatever reason because they needed to back out of it. So our ideal clientele are those medium to larger size businesses. We've got local real estate agents, we've got large agencies, we've got credit unions, we've got family companies that have been around since the 50s, we've got just a wide range. But I would say companies that, one, know the importance of it, and two, are able to invest in it.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So if people have, let's say, a retail type thing where they've taken it digital and they're doing, let's say, a Shopify store or something of that nature, have you worked extensively in that market? And how does that differ from maybe somebody that has a storefront or a service where they come to you?
Yeah, so Shopify is a beast. It's a different thing. So if we're talking about an e-commerce site, there's a lot more that goes in with it, and usually it does end up costing more for the SEO services. But generally what you're looking at for those kinds of businesses, these kinds of storefronts, are a lot of product schemas, a lot of optimizations for products themselves. So it's usually, because there are so many items involved, on the website, it tends to be, it's just a much larger process. So it's different than if it was a storefront or, if regardless, if it is an e-commerce business and you have a website that has those products listings, it's going to be much more, I don't want to say involved, it's just a lot more pieces to it. So it's a different approach. A lot of it's a different approach, and it's mainly focusing on, when they first sign up, is focusing on category pages, the money driver pages. What are you known for? What can we do on those sites to optimize it to get you to rank faster for those, and then work on the supporting product pages as time goes on.
Okay. What have you found as far as opt-in frequency based on, if you go to a website, let's say a real estate agent website, and you're looking at properties, right? And then you get to house number 3 and it says, hey, to see more houses, sign up here. Is that a thing now, or what's been the statistics on that? Do you know?
Yeah, so it's another source of a lead. So obviously in real estate, the conversion path is much longer, right? So we're not looking at, it's not like if you were to optimize for an HVAC client where, you're looking for someone who's going to make a decision within a couple days, right? Or if not right now. So real estate, it takes time. So when you capture those leads, when you force them to sign in and sign up, you get that information. That's something that over time you can reach out to them as a potential lead. So I do think it is useful, and I think a lot of people expect that kind of, in a way. It's not unheard of. We browse a couple listings and then it prompts us to actually create an account to save it. And a lot of us who are looking for homes would just do it because we're serious. If you're serious, right? If you're really wanting to look for it. And then whoever that IDX provider is saves those lead informations, and then you use it however you want to use it. So it is beneficial, but I will say you probably do get a lot of just browsers, right? Someone will browse and they may take 8 months before they decide. They're just checking the market as time goes on. So in real estate, it's a little trickier. It's a much longer conversion process, but if you do it the right way and you've got multiple avenues of leads, you can sustain growth over time and not, you just have multiple sources of them coming in. So that's good. There's pros to it.
Yeah, basically, that's great. And so from this standpoint, Sarah, what about you get somebody that triggers, it says, hey, I really would like to get more information about this house or whatever. And so they sign up. Do you work with your clients on lead nurture, which I think a lot of us, click funnels or whatever you want to call them. Tell me a little bit about that realm. How do you work with clients in that area, please?
So I don't really help with the funnelizing. However, the client does that. My goal is to make sure that we're capturing the leads and that we're identifying them right. So if we're using something like Zapier, and this is something that we've been working on with a local real estate client, is making sure all the leads that are coming in are properly labeled, because it's hard to put them through your system if you don't have the right labels, the phone numbers, things like that. So my goal is to make sure that it gets to them the right way, and then they do with it how they want internally. So I don't typically deal with the whole all the way through the funnel. The clients usually manage that because they have a better idea how they manage that internally. My goal is to get people to the site, to get to that point, and then make sure they go through and then hit their internal structure or whatever system they have.
Okay, very good, very good. I was recently at a 3-day marketing conference and in Florida, and they do direct mail, mailers, postcards, that kind of thing. Are you seeing the need to integrate some direct mail into some of the clients' marketing strategy? Because it seems like the open rate and that is being a little bit higher since everything's going digital. It's just a lot of noise, right? And so some people are turning back to that direct mail area. What are you seeing in that realm? Have you seen anything new?
I've given some thought to it, not too much. I will say I think there are some pros to it. It depends on what the business is. I think it really comes down to that, is what is the business and if it's a right choice for them. I will say I'm more in the idea that I want to have the answer when someone's actively looking for it. So, a mailer is more of come to them, let them know about what you do, what you offer, and hope that they eventually need you. My goal is to make sure that when they do need you, that you're right there. So mine is a little different approach. I do think that there are great ideas for certain businesses that do the mailers, because I think you're right. It's very oversaturated digital world. You got ads, you open a Facebook and you're going to see an ad within 15 seconds. So they're everywhere. But I do think because they are everywhere, it's important that the digital side, because everyone is still there, it's important that you're there when people are actively looking. But mailers, I think, can be good. I think it depends on the business, and I would have to do a little research with that business to see what the studies show in that type of industry, and then go from there.
Okay. So you're not getting involved in their CRM generally. You talk about Zapier. So you're sending them the information probably into whatever it is, Go High Level or whatever they're using, right? Yet
Correct.
You're not getting involved in the inside part of that. Is that correct?
Correct. And that's not something that we, maybe in time that's something that we could help with, but generally I found it's better. The client knows their system better than I do. Then, there'd be a learning curve there and then getting in and doing that. But when clients usually come to me, it's because they need help actually getting the leads, or they need more of those leads. And then once they get them, they know what to do. They know their business better than I do. It's easier for them to get through that process. They know, what the best conversion path is for it. While I focus on just getting those leads.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So is there like an evaluation type starting point for you? Let's say you got a new business they're considering, you met somebody at a networking meeting, they're going, we are thinking about doing something. We feel like our digital presence is a mess. Can you come in and evaluate it and kind of give us an idea of what we could do? Do you offer a service of that nature?
Yeah, so usually most of the time it starts off with a phone call. I prefer initial phone calls where I ask them what's the biggest problem that they're dealing with and how are they getting their current leads. So I've had a lot of calls in the past where someone comes to me and they think SEO is it, and actually I'm the one telling them, I think you need to do social, or I think you should do pay-per-click for whatever reason it is. So because I obviously don't want to bring on someone that I don't think would benefit from the SEO as much. So a lot of it will look like me taking a look at your website, a look at the front and the back end. So I'm viewing page source, trying to see what we're looking at. I put it into some of the data systems we have to see organic traffic, what things are looking like, do a short dive into the competitors, and then get an idea from the client about what their goal is. And if all of those things align, and then, we move into further of me explaining what my services actually are and how we do it at SC Marketing. if they're interested from there, then usually it moves into an intake form. And in that intake form, it's about 50 to 60 questions. And it goes into real depth of what they're wanting in the next year, what their end goal is, where are they getting most of their leads, have you done SEO before, the whole thing. And then once we review the intake form, we get access to site and things like that, then we can actually start implementing the work. But initially it starts off with, I prefer a phone call, so I can get to know the person, and then we just figure out what it is that their number one goal is and see if it aligns with what SEO can offer. Because sometimes it doesn't. Our clients, people may think that that's what they really need, but maybe it's a seasonal business or they've only got a few weeks left in whatever it is. SEO is not the right choice, right? Because it's going to take a while. So in those instances, it may be something like running ads or something like that. And then in that case, usually refer out, because I've got a great group of people that do things that I don't do and that I would trust with my business. So refer out to them and know that they'll be taken care of. So.
Okay. Now, talk about a little bit about skip tracing and how that works, and do you do the implementation of that?
No, no, I don't really do anything with skip tracing. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. What about geofencing? You do anything with geofencing?
No, no, I don't. I know some people who do. I think it's a different beast in itself, and there's certain things. There's certain things that can be implemented on the SEO side as far as geolocation and things like that. But most of it, I would say, on the SEO side with Google and with AI platforms is really the structured data. So things like geolocation or things like that behind images, I'm not seeing it move so much of the needle. I think it really depends on who you're talking to, because some people would say it does. But I know you can get fully involved in it, and I don't know too much about that. So that's not something I, really have much of an input on. So
very good. So what are the latest trends in the marketing industry, in the digital marketing industry? What are you seeing on the horizon? What's kind of in vogue right now, and where's it going? Do you have some insight into that?
Digital marketing as a whole, that's really large. Digital marketing is more like the umbrella term with it. Now, as far as the SEO industry, I'm very familiar with what's going on with there.
Okay, let's talk about that.
On the internet marketing side, and I can't even really speak to pay-per-click because I don't deal with that. That's another whole beast that I have not quite gotten into. But on the SEO side, you've got a lot of businesses, a lot of people, even digital marketing firms that are now starting to pay attention to the AI visibility side. So the shift is moving from just, which, I've been doing this for a long time, but a lot of places, agencies just focus on the simple things. But I'm sure you've heard the words of what am I thinking? Generative engine optimization, all those big buzzword type things. And in essence, all it's saying is creating content that people want to read, that's useful content. And if you've been doing it the right way, then you've been doing it all along. So but nowadays, a lot of agencies and SEOs are focusing on trying to get found in AI platforms. So they're implementing things like LLMS files, which are becoming more of a standard thing in the SEO world. You can build a site or a data site, and they naturally just put it in there, which I hate them because I'd prefer to write them myself. But anyways, the point is there's a shift now focusing a lot on the structured data side of stuff, on the SEO internet marketing side of stuff. As far as pay-per-click and, mailers, things like that, I don't really know because I'm not into that. We don't really do that stuff here. But internet marketing side, heavy into the schemas. Schemas are becoming more and more important. They've been important for a very long time. But now with the AI side, it's super important that you have schemas on your site. And essentially what schemas are is code on the back end of your site that allows your website to show up for rich snippets and gives more information to Google and AI platforms in code of what it is that you do. So you can have a local business schema where essentially it says the hours that you're open, where you're located, what it is that you do, what's your credibility, what awards you have, what services do you offer, what areas do you target, right? So this is all code that goes on the back end of your site that says that, and AI loves it because they can scan the site and they know that information right away. but also you qualify for rich snippets when people are Googling. So there's a lot of pros to it. It's just more technical. And I think a lot of agencies for a long time haven't been focusing on it because I come from the agency life. You typically have someone who's just clocking in for the day, right? They're doing a couple hours worth of content work or moving some meta tags, and then they clock out. So they're not really focused on that. They're not focused on the technical side. One, it takes more brain work. You really have to understand the technical side to know what you're doing. And a lot of agencies just haven't been pushing for that. So I think with the AI shift, they're now being forced to, or they're falling behind, which I think is good. I think business owners should be having it to begin with. But that's something heavily that we focus on is the technical side, because the technical side is super important. Google is, functions on algorithms and code, so you need your code to your site and to match well with their algorithms. What we do is optimize to get found on that. And so we've got to speak in their language, right? So The trend is shifting more to creating content that people are actually searching, giving them questions, direct answers, typing in long questions, writing the content right underneath it in a quick, easy snippet that answers it, and then having structured data on the back that matches. So that's really what's shifting a lot right now in the SEO world.
So do you provide content creation services as well?
Yes, I prefer that. So we create all content. Yeah, we create all the content. And so the reason for that is we understand the way that Google scans content, right? We understand how Google prefers it to be written. So it's always best that we handle that. Now, if the client has ideas about what's popular, what I usually say, if you're getting a lot of questions in your business, send it to me so I can put it in some of the content, because if they're asking you in person, they're looking for the answer online too. So we want to make sure that matches. But the content I do prefer to write. And then also because depending on the package you're in with us, I like to create a lot of the content in semantic HTML, which is really snippets of essentially code written in semantic code that helps AI parse and understand the information faster. So if I'm creating the content, then I can actually create it in semantic HTML and then put it on the site. So it's just easier on my end to do it all together.
Okay.
But then also make sure we're writing the content that will help with their keywords ranking.
Very good. Does it matter where you host your site? Does that matter a lot, or is that inconsequential?
I think it depends. As long as your server, your or your CMS system, if you're using WordPress or Duda, as long as those are hosted on a good server, and it doesn't, Google, I don't think prefers a CMS or not a CMS, a server or a certain host better than the other. It just needs to be reliable. We can't, we've had some clients where their website will go down here and there, and a lot of times it's because they're hosted by someone in their home. Hey, I had this friend who said they could build me a site, and they have their own servers, and we'll do that. Well, then you're subject to that person and whenever their power goes out or whatever's going on, right? So typically when we build sites, I like to just set it up with GoDaddy, because GoDaddy is massive and I've always had great success with them. And then I can get into the DNS and we don't have issues with that. So just as long as it's reliable and it's not shoddy in performance, you're fine.
Okay, good. What would you say would be the minimum revenue a company be having, or a minimum budget that they would have on a monthly basis in order to engage you in something like this? And I realize it varies widely because, it depends on a lot of the upfront work that you'd have to do, because they could be, like you say, really a mess, or they have nothing and they're just going, I need to start from scratch, right? And you can help them in all those areas. But let's say somebody that has a decent presence they've established, but they really need to put it on steroids, so to speak, and get it going. Can you give me a rough idea of what they might want to have in the budget?
Yeah, so typically my monthly pricing starts around $1,500. And so what that means is, with that package, my goal is to make it to where you can be hands off and then feel confident that we're working on what's going to help you show up on Google and AI platforms. And essentially what that means is we don't cap our hours. So there are some clients that come to us in the first month, and I'm not kidding, we've spent 25 to 30 hours just on one account, and that's really just in the code. So I've had clients come to me with literally half their site has been de-indexed for 2 years, and they've been paying for SEO, and the SEO person before did not catch that there were two plugins fighting against each other, creating no index. and they have not even been on Google, half their site, for 2 years. So
Wow.
we go in there, we remove the plugins, but then we've got breadcrumb issues. So we go in there and we're going on every site. It depends on how large the site is. So we don't cap our hours. We make sure our reporting is top notch. So we have 3 reports that come out, 2 to 3, depending on the package. Every month before the 15th, you get access to a client portal. And in that portal, you should expect to see those reports. One is a marketing report that has very detailed information on your rankings. And if we've got you on directory listings, if your organic traffic has improved, if it's declined, your clicks, all of that's in there. And the second report is an SEO progress report. And so that report is everything we've done that month. So if I'm adding schema on your homepage, if I've added content, if I've added forms, if I've added whatever it is, it's going to be in that report. Now, I don't expect clients to always understand it, but I say, take it, run it through AI platforms and say, I'm in my 3rd month of SEO. Is this what we should be doing? And let AI give you an opinion on it. I mean, you're welcome. People are always welcome to give me a call or chat me as well. But my goal with people who are assigned on those monthly services is to let them be as hands-off as possible, but still be in the know, right? I want them to understand where their money is going and what progress we're having. And very much work with me. I have employees that work with me, but very much hands-on, because, I want to make sure I meet the business owners and I know what's going on, and I'm fully involved because their success is my success. So generally pricing starts around $1,500 and it goes up from there. It depends on the industry. So, if it's an e-commerce site, it's going to be generally far more than that, because it just depends on the amount of products too. So, it depends on the industry. It depends on the website that comes to us. If you've got a massive site, if you've got a 1-page site and you're a large company, but it's only 1 page and we're building from the ground up, we're not probably going to not charge you $4,000 a month. It's going to be less than that because we're working on a 1-page site, right? So it just depends. But generally, entry level pricing is around $1,500, and each package offers different levels of G&B optimization, different levels of AI optimization. AI meaning we don't use AI to optimize; we're optimizing for AI. So things like semantic optimization and things like directory listings. It just depends, but generally, it's around $1,500 a month.
Okay, that's great. So if you don't mind me asking, what's the size of your organization? It sounds like you said you have quite a bit of staff.
Not quite a bit. So I do have one person who works directly. She's my right-hand person. But I do have some 1099s that I subcontract out for some design work. It really depends on what it is, but I've got a lot of people moving hands in it.
Sure.
But for the most part, it's generally I and my right-hand person, Natalie. She's fabulous. I wouldn't be where I am without her, because I cannot do it all myself. So it's mainly her and I that work with the clients, and then I have my people who do fabulous work on the side that help with the design, implementation, and different things like that. Photography, if we need photography. So, but generally, it's her and I that meet with the clients.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the EOS operating system?
Say more.
Entrepreneurial operating system. Are you familiar with that?
I don't think so.
Really?
No.
Okay. And
Okay.
that's cool. That's cool. A lot of I just discovered this about a year ago. So a friend of mine recommended I read the book called Rocket Fuel. Have you ever heard of that?
Okay. No, I have not.
No. Okay. So Gino Wickman is the author of Rocket Fuel. And basically what he talks about in essence is the fact that all major companies that have had stellar growth have had 2 different people at the front. So like we all know Apple, it was Steve Jobs, right? Yet he had somebody in the background that was implementing everything that he had vision for. So really the rocket fuel is the combination of in an entrepreneurial environment would be the visionary and the integrator. So the integrator, as he defines it, would be the person that actually gets it going. So that would be your right-hand person, right? So that's how it works. I'd recommend if you haven't read it yet is to read Rocket Fuel. Then
Okay.
yeah, Gino Wickman, Gino is the guy, and he has a whole thing that he's developed called the EOS system, which is the entrepreneurial operating system. What it is essentially a framework that allows you to scale your business no matter how big you grow, because it's got all the elements of growth built into it. The infrastructure is already there. The other books, there's some other books that support that. One's called Traction, which is excellent, by Gino as well. So anyway, something to look into maybe and see if it's something
Absolutely.
that might help you, because since you're working with a lot of entrepreneurs, they may have need for this type of structure. And this is something it's very low overhead to implement, and you can get certified in it and everything as well. I did want to go back to something, Sarah, as far as, can you give us some general success stories that you've had as you've implemented your systems? I mean, you don't have to name names or anything, yet I would like to hear a little bit more about, I took them from here to here. Do you have some stories like that?
Yeah, I do actually quite a bit. So one of them, the charter business that I spoke about. So they've been with me for a little over a year now. They came to me with a decent site. It was okay. Their business is doing fine. Goal was to really move the business in the direction where eventually they can buy more boats and invest more in that. And it's been a year now, and I would say the majority of the months we have been writing between, I should have this pulled up, between 50 and some months have been over 100% increase in year over year in the amount of bookings they've had online. So the main goal with that really has just been making sure our content is actually hitting those search queries. That was big for them because there's a natural demand where they are. They're like the Ozarks, right? So there's a natural demand there. And so capitalizing on that demand and that search volume that's already there and just making sure the content actually speaks to it has been like game changer for them. We also have a local real estate agency here in Springfield, a big agency that we've been doing work on since I think August of last year. There were some months we were hitting about 86% increase in organic traffic. Now, again, real estate is a long conversion process, right? So you might see 86% organic increase, but we're seeing about 7 to 8 leads possibly one month. This past month, I think we saw in the 20-ish range of people actually ready to book. And then they also got a lead that came in through AI platform, about $1 million property, and they were recommended through AI ChatGPT. So there's a lot of really great success stories. It just really, it depends on the industry. So if it's an industry like real estate, it's going to take longer. Med spas take longer. I've noticed med spas have been a little tricky. People price compare there, and reviews are super important, right? So that's a bit, that one can take a little bit more time, but in general, the majority of our clients are all seeing increase. I mean, we have actually never had a client leave due to lack of performance. We've had a few leave because they got bought out, which it makes sense. You get bought out and you have different management coming in. We have had some of the smaller businesses pause because of capital and just not being able to continue investing in it. But the majority of our clients do stay with us because they see the increase. And generally, I say around 2 to 3 months, you can start noticing more form fills or more phone calls, depending on the industry. But on average, that's where it's at. And taking it from there. But we've seen a lot of success, and success is different for each one. Some are form fills and some are phone calls. It just depends. Or online bookings.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been very exciting. I've learned a lot, and I really appreciate your professionalism and all this to answer all my fun questions I came up with.
Yeah.
But
No,
I love
it.
this. I love this area of it. My degree years ago was in industrial marketing, so that is where where I got mine and in my background. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that we're. Oh, how would they get a hold of you? What's a good phone number for you?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I actually don't always memorize my business line. They can actually just Google SEO Springfield, Missouri, and I'm right there. So that's usually what I tell people. You don't have to remember my name. Just Google SEO in Springfield, and I'm right there.
There we go.
My business number, if I can remember, is 417-597-3867, I believe is what it is. But if I'm remembering wrong, let me just pull it up because I really should memorize it by now. But
it's okay. It's okay.
Most of my clients end up just reaching out through the website is what happens, and then I give them my personal cell, and we just connect through that way. But
okay,
yeah,
no
so they
problem.
just Google me and I'm right there. So
Okay, awesome, awesome.
yeah.
Well, awesome. I would love to talk again soon about this and keep in touch. So thanks again, Sarah, for being with us, and we hope to talk to you very, very soon. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.